Over a year ago, there was a video that Piers Morgan did on his show, Piers Morgan Uncensored, that got over 22 million views. It had to deal with the beginning early stages of the war, now genocide, that's happening in Gaza. Piers Morgan was interviewing comedian, actor Bassem Youssef, who I think in many ways really ushered in intellectual points about the conversation into the crisis in Gaza and the overall conflict between Israel and Palestine. Now, I have said on the show, and in the aftermath of that interview, Piers Morgan has been trying to capture lightning in a bottle. And let's face it, getting a video on the good old YouTubes at 22 million is a pretty big deal. It's very fascinating, and it still remains viral to this day, which is fantastic. It talks about its longevity. However, yesterday there was not a second meetup, because they did a second meetup, but they met again over a year, and Bassem Youssef returned to Piers Morgan show to talk about the Israel-Hamas war, the genocide in Gaza. And I just have a few highlights from this video, from this interview, and I want to share it with all of you. I'll keep my interruptions to a bare minimum. I will try. I know I said that before, but I think it's only fair that we see this video and talk about it, because, again, it seems like Bassem Youssef has to re-educate Piers Morgan about the crisis and the overall situation that's happening in Gaza. Unfortunately, folks, as it stands right now, the death toll still keeps on rising up, and the war is going outside of Gaza, impacting in Lebanon, Syria, Iran. Will there be peace in the Middle East? No. This war is going to lead to the next war. And unfortunately, folks, the horrific imagery that we're seeing on TikTok or on Twitter or any other social media platform, it's not going to go away anytime soon. As much as I would like it to go away, it's not. And to quote Bassem Youssef, when he was speaking, I believe it was Christiane Amanpour on CNN, that Israel's going to get away with it. I want there to be justice in the world. But let's see Piers Morgan getting owned by Bassem Youssef, because we're opening this up where Bassem, or at least Piers Morgan, is accusing Bassem of saying that what he's doing is only for clicks. So let's go ahead and play this video.
A response to what happened to their people, and that they have to stop the group that did that from doing it again, which they're wedded to doing.
So what is their proportionate response?
Well, that's been the question I've asked for a year.
Yeah, but
I don't know the answer.
That question kind of lost its validity after 1 month of the war.
Well, I think you say, for example, you've been critical of me saying I only do what I do because I'm after clicks.
I never said that about you.
You did.
No,
you did.
When?
We found it.
When, Piers? Piers, when?
Let me find that clip. Where is it?
Where is it? Oh,
not clip. No, it's an interview. Where is it?
Oh, okay.
Here we go. Yeah. So you said this.
Yeah.
You said at the Arab Media Forum in June. I don't know why people care that Piers Morgan changes his opinion.
Yes.
He's a man who seeks trends and increasing viewership. It's
yes.
True. As he hosts people and sits with them to raise viewership numbers. Yes. His opinion isn't important at all because he only cares about what is trending and what people will talk about. So it doesn't matter that he changed his opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Piers is a man who has a media platform on which we appear to convey our ideas to his viewers, nothing more.
And there's nothing wrong with that. By the way, that's your job, actually, to get clicks and views. Because
yeah, it is. It is. He's right. You have to get clicks and views. That is how you do this in this business. And it's not just only independent media. It's all social media. It's everything, right? So, again, what Bassem Youssef said wasn't wrong. It's actually correct. Very correct and on point.
The question I was asked is, what do you think of
But the
Piers?
implication of
did he change your mind? And I said, I don't care about him changing.
I understand that,
because that's your job.
But the implication of what you were saying was that that's all I care about. And I don't actually care about what I genuinely care about, which is trying to work out what the world should think about this.
Mm-hmm.
What is the correct proportionate response from either side to any of the things that have happened? And I think it is morally complex. You find it morally more straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
I find it complicated. And I've wrestled with how I should think about this. I've gone on a bit of a journey. Now, it doesn't mean that, for example, I would find common ground with you about the way the Palestinian...
And Freddie G says, but he didn't say what he accused him of. Exactly. Okay? So in other words, Piers, Stop projecting. I know I said I wouldn't be pausing too much, but when an audience member brings up a good point, oh, yes.
People have been treated for many decades. I do think it's been a form of occupation. I do think.
Form of?
Yeah.
Not an occupation.
Well,
not a full-blown occupation.
As I said to Israelis when they come on, I don't know how you can argue that it's an occupation. I know you moved out in 2005, but the reality is once this war started...
They didn't move out.
Well, once they formally moved out.
You basically went out of the room and you locked the room and you basically controlled the perimeter of the room.
I was about to say, after October the 8th, when they began to turn off the water supply, the food supply, the power and so on, it was quite clear they still wield power.
But that was going on since 2006.
No, I understand.
That never stopped.
So I'm agreeing with you.
You know what Dove wise...
I'm agreeing with you.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, clearly that is a form of occupation. Otherwise, it wouldn't have the
It's an occupation, not a form.
Yeah. I mean, look.
It's like saying it's a form of terrorism.
Okay. I take that point.
Yeah.
Let's call it an occupation. And it has to end. And in my view, I've always hoped and believed there should be a two-state solution. Do you believe that is even remotely achievable now?
I don't know.
Why would you say something so stupid, Piers? Two states? Listen, Netanyahu said that ain't going to happen. Okay? Like, every time I hear a Democrat lawmaker say that, anytime I hear any jagoff pundit or expert talk about that, I always go ahead and reference Netanyahu. Okay, folks, listen. Bibi said that ain't going to happen. Okay? And evidence is, well, Gaza's all of nothing but a moonscape. The West Bank is being torn over. Lebanon's getting bombed. Syria's getting bombed. Iran's getting bombed. Yeah, two-state solution. It's not even in the thought process, man. It's not even there. It doesn't exist.
Because the thing is, you created a mess. You completely destroyed all kinds of...
We say me. What do you mean?
No, not you. Right. I mean, like you as...
Don't look at me when you say that. I'm not creating any mess.
Like you created the mess as like you as the stronger part in the conflict. The thing is, it is very... it's very disappointing to see. I know that you mean well, but you are trying to two-sided. I found this is no, but
there are two sides.
No, yes, but one side of
you're too one-sided, and understand why.
Okay,
your wife has family in Gaza. I get it, right? You're going to be one-sided. That's why I've asked you at the start of the interview. When you look back over since 1948, do you find anything to criticize on your side? And your inability to articulate any response to that makes me think you are too one-sided. Do you accept that?
If I met Mike Tyson on the streets and I kicked him and he responded by kicking me in the face, killing me, yes, I did. But like he has a lethal weapon, his hands.
Yeah.
Israel is 100, 1,000 times stronger. And they have the whole of the support, all of the money.
But here's my analogy for you with the Mike Tyson thing. If you had taken thousands of people and you gone to Mike Tyson's house and you committed atrocities on his extended...
Oh, come on, Piers, honey child. Man, Bassem. I paused at a perfect time because Bassem's like, okay, all right. Keep it together, buddy. We do invite you to be on the show, though.
Family and friends, raping them and killing them and setting people alive. Well, I know you don't believe there was any sexual abuse.
I don't believe.
Well, there was sexual abuse.
We can talk about that.
Well, we will come to that, but I think it's inarguable. It's been investigated by the United Nations. Established.
Have you read the report?
Well, I've had journalists who I respect more than any in the world.
Have you read the report?
There is indisputable evidence of sexual abuse.
Did you read the report? Yes or no? Come on. Did you read READ? READ, reading. But listen, folks. You know that Coca-Cola classic question is: do you bloody well condemn Hamas? The Hamas.
Okay, let's talk about that when it comes.
We will. Well, and we'll agree to differ, I'm sure. But my point is, I believe it has been established. But putting aside that, you don't dispute people were killed. You don't dispute people were set on fire. You don't dispute any of the stuff that happened on October the 7th that we saw through Hamas's own cameras, right?
Yeah,
You know, just people we saw with our own eyes.
I know what I've shown, and of course, like, and as a matter of fact, I've seen many of them. Yes, it's terrible.
Okay.
But
So my point is, if you did all that to Mike Tyson's family, and then he,
but I'm not gonna be.
Well, hang on.
It's a 1-to-1 man. It's not 1,000.
But if you did all that, and then he punched you in the face and killed you,
yeah,
would you feel that was justified?
No, but the thing is,
no,
sir, you're trying to. You're trying to.
Well, I'm throwing your analogy back at you.
You're trying. No, that's not the wrong. I said, like, me and Mike Tyson, man to man, is much stronger than me. I'm not gonna show up with like 1,000 person. So if you want to do the analogy, you need to modify the analogy again. And the thing is,
that's very good. Modify that analogy, Piers. Come on, buddy. Because listen, Mike Tyson's strong. I guess 1,000 people, at least half are probably going to not make it out.
I think it's like we always ask what Israel should do, but we never ask what should the Palestinians do. Because, I mean, I know that there's like really great examples. I mean, there are some peaceful examples. There's a beautiful boy called Mido. He's 19 years old. He's an exchange student in Texas. And he was moved from one safe zone to the other, and he ended up into a safe zone, and he was farming. He had a beautiful, beautiful garden. And he was farming, and he was blogging about it. His mom died because of lack of medicine, but he continued to farm. And you know what happened to him? He was killed in an airstrike. You asked me about the Nelson Mandela, and there's a man called Ahmed Abu Trema. He was inspired by the civil rights movements and the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa, and he toured the churches and the schools and the colleges in the United States, and he came back, and Israel hit him in an airstrike, killing 5 of his family, including his son, and he was injured. If Palestinians march, they get killed. If they throw a stone at a tank, they get killed. If they sit at home quietly, someone will come in and take their home away, and they kill them. If someone just like picking up olives, that they will kill him. So what would that decide? And I don't know, like,
but it sounds to me like what you're doing, you're constructing
that, like, I'm justifying October 7th, right?
No, I'm going to put words in your mouth, but it sounds to me like you're saying, what else did you expect?
Yeah, what else did you expect? If you treat people like animals, they will behave like animals, Piers.
So you accept they behave like animals?
Yeah, some of them did, yes. Some of them did, yes. Like, yeah,
I mean, there were 3,000 of them.
Yeah. But
entering at 13 different points.
So 13,000, 3,000?
3,000 Hamas at 13 entry points.
So for that, you killed 50,000 people.
Well, they killed 1,200 people. They kidnapped over 250.
No. I said, like, Israelis, for that, they killed 50,000
Well, hang on.
people.
I'm about to give you the numbers as we now believe them. So 1,200 people were killed, of which 400 were believed to be military. Then you had nearly 7,000 more people who were wounded, many of them irrevocably badly. You had over 250 people kidnapped, including a baby who's never been returned, Holocaust survivors, grandparents, and so on. And my question is really, I'm not sure what you would have expected Israel to do, but more pertinently, what should they have done?
Well, I don't know, Piers, because...
But you've got to have some idea. You can't just say what you did is wrong.
Yeah.
You've got to have a thing of, given what happened to them, given that huge blow to their country and to their people, given that Hamas said we're going to keep doing this to you, what should Israel have done?
So let's nuke Gaza, right? I mean, that's like...
They haven't nuked Gaza.
They
could have done.
They have dropped
They
bombs.
could have done.
Yeah,
my argument to those who say it's genocide is, if they'd wanted to, Israel has the ability to blow up the whole of Gaza now.
And chances are there's a good portion of that population that's dead. Now, right now, what we got is at least confirmed either 44 to 45,000 deceased men, women, and children of all ages, old and young. Pick a card, any card. But according to some reports, and because of the absolute destruction, famine, and disease that's also running rampant, that death toll could very well be above 250,000. Who knows? Once the smoke is finally cleared, the rubble is removed. Are we looking at 500,000? 1 million? How high do we want to have those numbers up? Because again, 44 to 45,000, that number is just too high. Plus, you got to also count in deceased journalists and first aid workers. Never forget what happened to World Central Kitchen Aid workers. Remember them? I mean, they had absolute communication with the IDF. They had their 3 vehicles, their logos on them, and they were delivering food from point A to point B, and then on their way back, point B to point A, which is an approved route, and kaboom! It blew up. And it wasn't hummus. It was the IDF. That's what happened to him. Piers, what do you think about that?
They haven't done that.
So
If you really are genocidal, why wouldn't you do that?
If people are still around, it's not a genocide. If monkeys are still alive, how there's no?
Well, you have 2 million people residing in Gaza,
Yeah.
of which over 42,000 have been killed.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. What's
Is that genocide after a year?
So what's the threshold?
Well, it's not. My point is that if you're waging genocide, Israel has the capability to kill all 2 million people very quickly.
How about too much killing? Is that good?
I think there has been too much killing.
Yeah. How about extreme
But I don't think it's a
determination of life?
I don't think it's a
I mean, if you don't
genocide.
like the G word, we can.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a
other words.
genocide, is it?
We're wasting our time in definitions.
Well, we're not, because it's important, because what is genocidal is what Hamas has said they want to do to Israel.
What did they say to do?
They want to eradicate Israel.
Is according to their charter?
Yes.
Which charter?
Well, their original charter said that.
And then what happened in 2017?
Well, I'd rather go forward to what happened.
No. But what happened?
No, hang on.
Like you're being because
What happened in 2017? Come on, Piers. Come on. Say what's happening, or is he afraid? Is he afraid that good old Rupert Murdoch is going to come out from the closet, no pun intended, and give him the old ditty?
I know they rewrote the charter.
Yeah, but why don't you say that?
Because it's overtaken by what happened on October the 7th.
So it doesn't count?
Because Bassem, because
I mean, you're telling people as
Hang
if
on.
this is the status quo.
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying their original charter stated eradication of Israel.
Mhm.
And the Hamas spokesman said after October the 7th, we want to keep doing this again and again and again. He said it on camera.
Mhm.
That is an existential threat to all Israelis.
Well, there's a lot of horrible things that Israelis say on camera, Piers.
Mm.
But the only
I agree.
But the only difference is
And I criticize them
Israel,
too.
but Israel acts on it, and they have the power to do
But
it.
I've already
At the
told
end
you
of
that
the
I believe that Ben Gvir and Smotrich have used
It's not
genocidal
just them,
language.
Piers. It's not just them, and you know it's not just
No,
them.
I accept
it's
them,
a,
but
it's a whole apparatus,
They're
a
the
whole
two.
system.
They're the two worst offenders in the government.
But the rest of the government is terrible.
Yeah. So my question is again, and I think it's an important one: is I get that you don't think they should have done this the way they've done it, Israel. But
Sorry, I had to pull out the thesaurus because if we don't want to use the genocide word, we could use manslaughter, bloodshed, bloodletting, slaughter, carnage, butchery, decimation, annihilation, massacre. You know, that's what we could use. Sometimes the thesaurus, and no, it's not a dinosaur, can help out.
given they had to respond, how should they have responded?
Israel
Because when they responded in a more precision way, and we can come to you, I know you don't agree with me about this, but I think you criticized Bill Maher for saying that what they did with Hezbollah was military success. Well, indisputably, from a military perspective, it was successful. They managed to be very precise in targeting 3,000 members of Hezbollah at the same time through pages. As an active military strategy, it was very effective. It did kill a lot of civilians as well.
Yeah,
and that is
that's
obviously
too bad.
No, it is too bad.
Mm-hmm.
All civilian death is too bad. But my point is, if they had done that strategy in Gaza, where they had gone after Hamas through pages or whatever, I still think you would have said it was wrong.
Israel is the strongest part in this, and they have unlimited supply of money and power.
Yeah.
And as you say in superhero movies, with great power there's great responsibility. And
Spider-Man, to be more precise. But remember, this is Homelander we're talking about.
The whole idea of like, how could they respond? And then we sit there discussing this while Israel actually responding on a daily basis. By the time we finish this interview,
It's a valid question, isn't it? It's a valid question about how you think they should have done it differently. Or you think they should have done nothing.
No, I didn't say that they say nothing. But
So
Israel has the technology and the ability to do more surgical attacks than this. But to decimate a whole region, displacing 100% of the population, I don't think
I think it's wrong.
Good.
I agree with you.
Good.
I do.
Good. Now, it's not on me to decide to Israel what to do. Maybe Israel could check with itself and see what had led to that. Yes, what happened is terrible, but they need to discuss. But the thing is, there's a roadblock between us, Piers, because it seems that we are far apart of actually what happened October 7th. And I know there's a lot of people here came and talk about what happened October 7th. I would like to have a chance to tell you what, from my point of view, what me and my people think. And
Tell me what you think happened.
So there are three big things that made the world accept what is happening now in Palestine. And they talk like, what will happen now? What can we get? Three things. The story of what they decapitated babies.
That was not true.
Good. So why didn't the Western media refute it? Why didn't they?
Well, it
pull
was
back?
refuted very quickly.
Really?
Yes,
But
very quickly.
how many times you said?
Was that refuted quickly? Folks, listen, I know we're dealing with a lot of stuff being bombarded with social media, but type 1 for yes, it was refuted quickly. Shame on you for not trusting corporate media. Type 2, refuted quickly. Huh? What? What how many twos will be in the chat?
How many times the Western media has used that media until today? Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, is still repeating it until now.
Well,
Benjamin
it's
Netanyahu.
not true.
I know, but it was.
But it has been discounted by the media.
No, not really.
It has.
Not really, and it didn't. And in the discounting and refuting, and I think when you have an apology or a retraction, it has to be.
Yeah, but I was accused of saying it. I never said it.
You said.
No, I didn't say it.
You said.
Piers, listen.
You said. It came to me as a revelation that I read about 40 murdered babies. Some of them are decapitated.
Yeah, maybe in that. Yeah.
You said
which
that,
were early reports
with John Collins.
Yeah,
right.
Which were early reports.
I understand.
Which turned out not to be true.
I know, but like but you understand the shock, the initial shock that made the public turn a blind eye of what's happening. Like, I mean, if I was like a European, it's like, oh my God.
But I would throw back at you, Bassem, this. I don't know if you've seen all the GoPro camera footage from Hamas that they broadcast to the world, but I have seen a lot of it.
Me too.
And
I have them. I've seen
them.
them.
So I think splitting hairs, which is what I would call it, over the nature of the depravity, given the way that they openly boasted and gleefully conducted so much depravity, I just think it's a bit pointless. It's like, what's the point?
So let's talk
what you're trying to say is, yes, they were barbaric. Yes, they were disgusting. They may not have done this precise thing, so therefore I give them a pass.
But no, but that matters. I know what, because if I came here on your show and I told you 5 million children were slaughtered in Gaza, what would you tell me, Piers? You said, no, there are only 17,000 people.
Facts matter.
Because fact matter. Yeah. Because here's the difference between...
But I told you I agree with you.
But here's the thing. The difference between killing children and decapitating babies, the image of decapitating a baby, that makes his...
But kidnapping a baby is okay.
Never.
But they kidnapped a baby.
You see, that's you got coming down to it. You're coming back to like.
No, I'm saying, what's the difference?
No, the difference is
you kidnap a baby and take it away from its family.
And you decapitate 40 babies. That's terrible, right? I mean, the thing is, both of them are terrible.
You're trying to, if you don't mind me saying, what you're trying to do is say, well, they weren't quite as medievally barbaric as that, but they did do this, and that's not as bad. And I'm saying to you, actually, it is as bad.
Yeah, one person
kidnapping a baby.
One person killed, one person kidnapped.
They did behead people.
Where?
On October the 7th.
When?
Multiple reports of beheadings.
Babies?
I didn't say babies. I said they did behead people.
Why would
is beheading an adult worse or better than a baby?
Like, how many decapitated babies, Palestinians, have you seen already on television?
Yeah, way too many.
Yes.
Disgusting.
Yes.
Again, but I can say both are disgusting. Can you?
Yes.
You do?
Of course.
Yes, of course. Of course. But let's also talk about the future of free speech too. Again, I got a couple more clips here. Because this is my personal favorite. They mention up the political police, or as we all know them, FBI, open up.
Do you categorize what Hamas has been doing, particularly on October the 7th, what Hezbollah did within hours of October the 7th and carried on for the next year, what the Houthis have done, a lot of it orchestrated by, doubtless, the Iranian regime. Do you categorize that as resistance, as freedom fighting? Or are there elements of all those groups who are genuinely terrorist in their thinking?
Oh, someone's a terrorist is other one's.
Yeah, but how you categorize it.
How I categorize it? I mean, like, I'm an American citizen. Of course, I don't want to come back and find the FBI raiding my house. So yes, of course, they're terrorists.
Do you believe that?
Well, at the advice of my lawyer, I would say.
Well, no,
they're terrorists.
you gotta be careful here. Piers, you trying to set up Bassem? Huh? He lives in the USA. Next thing you know, he's gonna knock on the door from FBI, open up.
I don't think you'd be banned from going back to America.
You know what happened to Scott Ritter? He was the former UN inspector of nuclear weapon in Iraq.
He's a convicted pedophile.
Yeah, but like when he was raided a few months ago, it was because he was talking against Israel. Asa Winstanley, he was a British journalist in London, and his house was raided just last week because he talked about Israel. And this is actually, Piers, what I like about you is that you are a fierce warrior against cancel culture, right?
Yeah.
If you cancel people for their opinion, we're not living in a
I
free
agree.
world anymore,
I
right?
totally agree.
So, for example, you have Robert Saleh, who was the coach of the NFL Jets. He wore like a small Lebanese flag, and he was canceled. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. I came to America, and I was so happy that I can speak about anyone I want, and then suddenly it's like, oh, we can do whatever you want.
Yes, in theory, in theory, Bassem, we would love to have you on the show to talk about free speech. We would, but also there's other things too I want to bring up. We all know what happened to one of the leaders of Hamas, and Bassem says that was a dumb mistake that Israel did.
When you heard that Sinwar, the Hamas leader, had been killed, what were your feelings about that?
Well, when I heard he was killed, of course, like, I mean, it was this is something that was actually, I said, like, oh wow, that's actually, he survived all of that. But I think it was a huge mistake by the Israelis to release the footage, because now he's an icon, right?
Is he?
Well, I mean, again,
I mean, he looked like
someone's terrorist is someone else's hero, right?
Right. But all he did was lob a piece of wood at them. That was it.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was also like, he was lost an arm, and he was there, and it took them 3 tanks to bring down the house. I mean, hey, you can respect your enemy.
Whatever I said on this show, all what this war is going to do is lay the foundations for the next one. And while the path is set for blood, there's no way out. I'm so sorry, my lovelies. This war is going to be going on for quite some time. But I also want to pull up something else here, too. Because Bassem weighs in on the election. And because there's a lot more to talk about, especially in regards to this election. Let's go ahead and play this video here.
Who would be the better winner of the American presidential election in 2
better?
weeks for getting this sorted in the Middle East?
I don't know, because both
Trump or Harris?
Trump and Harris, both of them are competing for who's Israel's favorite bitch. I mean, I don't know.
Hey, listen, let's be very clear. Representative Thomas Massey said it best that everyone in Washington, D.C. has an AIPAC babysitters. And as we like to say in this show, let's be clear here. Money in politics runs everything in Washington, D.C. And all these politicians put on this game of, oh, yeah, America first, but
all lies will be exposed.
And that's the truth of it. All lies will be exposed. Who is Israel's biggest biatch?
No, because both
Trump or Harris?
Trump and Harris, both of them are competing for who's Israel's favorite bitch. I mean, I don't understand.
It wouldn't make any difference.
I came to America. I was so happy, like, to vote in the United States, and I was like one of those people, blue no matter who. But then I see the Republicans and the Democrats, they fight tooth and nails about everything. They fight on healthcare, about abortion, about guns. And then when it comes to Israel, it's like, who's better serving Israel? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, when Netanyahu went in Congress, he was like received like a rock star.
It was. I was so surprised.
He was like, and then I was watching it, and I thought like this is how.
Was Piers Morgan surprised that Netanyahu was treated like a rock star? Type 3 for yes, he was. He was shocked. Type 4, no, man, come on. Of course he knew. Rupert gave him the memo.
Liberty dies to a thunderous applause.
Well, it just shows that there is, from many American politicians, they will show blind support to Israel.
Yeah, but that's not right. That is not right.
I agree,
Piers.
but that's what it is.
That's terrible. I mean, that is not right. I mean, I don't know where that would take us.
So, who is, or what is the final conclusion? What can we learn from all of this? But I do want to pull up something here, where actually he does admit something. Piers actually admits something as a final video to play for all you lovely, beautiful people.
I do think it's been a form of occupation. I do think
form of,
yeah,
not an occupation,
well,
not a full-blown occupation.
as I said,
now we did play this earlier, but I mean, still, it's a form of comes in many forms. But I guess occupations come in many forms.
to Israelis when they come on, I don't know how you can argue that it's an occupation. I know you moved out in 2005, but the reality is, once this war started,
They didn't move out.
Well, once they formally moved
You
out.
basically
But they kept
you went
control.
out of the room and you locked the room and you basically controlled the
Kept me
perimeter
key.
of the room.
I was about to say, after October the 8th, when they began to turn off the water supply, the food supply, the power, and so on, it was quite clear they still wield power.
But that was going on since 2006.
No, I understand.
That
but
never stopped.
So I'm agreeing with it.
You know what dove wise.
I'm agreeing with
Okay,
it.
okay.
What I'm saying is, clearly that is a form of occupation. Otherwise, it wouldn't have.
It's an occupation, not a form.
Yeah. I mean, look.
It's like saying it's a form of terrorism.
Okay, I take that point.
Yeah.
Let's call it an occupation, and it has to end.
So what can we learn from this? Well, at least as it stands right now, because I actually like to be consistent. I like to look at numbers because I'm a numbers guy. I like to look at numbers. I like to look at numbers. Just want to make sure this is all correct. But as it stands right now, this video has got 977, 895 views. It came out 19 hours ago, which is all right. All right, it's still growing. It's still growing. But throughout this entire thing, throughout this entire time, even watching this interview, when you look at Piers Morgan's content, it is clear to me. It should be clear to all of you that in this game of numbers, views, and clicks, you always want to make sure that you got all the good stuff going on. And let's face it, his first interview with Bassem Youssef got 22 million views. And since then, he's been having the same conversation about the crisis in Gaza. You got to boost those numbers up. You got to get those numbers and clicks and views up. But you only can keep on repeating the same thing over and over again until you come down to a true conclusion. And a true conclusion is what's happening in Gaza is a human tragedy. It is the big question that many of us have always wondered. How would we react if there was a crisis, a genocide, war crimes happening, and we're all witnessing it? And if you turn on your cell phone and you look for it, you'll find them on TikTok, the imagery, the destroyed homes in Gaza, the continuing bombardments of what's happening in Lebanon and Syria, Iran. Further being agitated. It looks like could be a full-blown conflict between Israel and Iran. There's no stopping that. What can we learn from this? That throughout this entire time, throughout this entire war, it could have been stopped. It could have been halted. But if you're going to keep on having the same conversation, your true conclusion should be war was never the answer. Destruction was never the answer. Murder was never the answer. Genocide was never the answer. It was never the answer to begin with. But unfortunately, we have many people, especially some of these diehard liberals, who think that it's okay to turn a blind eye and silence dissenting voices. Piers Morgan still asking the question of, do you still condemn Hamas? Well, the answer is it's not going to matter what's going to happen in a year from now or 2 years from now, because the victims, the survivors of this war, will remember. And the consequence is that there will be no peace. But have no fear, folks. AIPAC will make sure that plenty of politicians will be fed with that green dollar bill so that they will continue to send in more arms and ammunition. Meanwhile, the rest of us who are impacted by man-made disasters or natural disasters, we're left holding the bag. This madness has to end. The real thing is, and the real question is, do we condemn our governments for putting us in this situation? Do we condemn our governments for leading us to World War III? Do we condemn our governments for having us attack one another? Do we condemn them? And when do people act to actually fight for a better future? I don't know if Piers is ready for that conversation, but shout out to Bassem Youssef. Speaking truth to power as he should. But this conflict, it will continue on. I am so, so sorry.